Hi, everybody. My name's Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
Welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. Well, Jim, I don't know how we start off a game or a show like this, even though we're in Canada, without mentioning some perfection. This week, Chicago White Sox pitcher Philip Humber became the 21st in the history of Major League Baseball to record a perfect game. He did it with less than 100 pitches, too, which was absolutely amazing. What did you think of that?
Oh, man. You know, it's just that it's happened so rarely in the history of the game is just awesome. And, you know, it's funny because it sort of comes out of nowhere. And, you know, you get into the late innings and it's like all of a sudden there's a buzz and there's more pressure to do it. But he pulled it off, so attaboy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Another White Sox player, too.
Oh, yeah.
Burley had one.
That's right. That's right. It was something else. You're right. I mean, nobody expected him to get it, and then I was listening to some of the commentators go while it was happening, and it's like, you know, they didn't have anything against saying a perfect game either. That's the weirdest thing, because you know how broadcasters won't even say shutout during a hockey game. Yeah. It's like they had no problem saying it, but like all of a sudden it was like, oh, by the way, we're in the 6th inning and he's still working on a perfect game, and then like they were surprised, like, nah, this can't happen. And then the last out was something else because it was a 3-2 pitch, and he put it in the dirt, and it got away from him. And I don't know who was at bat, but they thought they checked the swing. They thought they hadn't broken the wrist, and then, of course, they called it a strikeout. It was a little controversy to end the game, but a lot of fun to watch, that's for sure.
Well, at least he got it on a controversy and didn't have it taken from him on a controversy like we saw once last season.
That's true, too. Well, let's get back to what we usually start off the shows with, especially this time of year. I mean, we said it last week, but what a start to the NHL playoffs in terms of just overall insanity, Jim. And that translated into a lot of extra work for the Vice President, Mr. Shanahan himself.
Let's run down the suspensions and fines so far.
Yeah.
So we got Byron Bitts, 2 games. Carl Hagelin, 3 games. Matt Carkner, 1 game. Andrew Shaw, 3 games. Craig Adams, 1 game. James Neal, 1 game. Aaron Asham, 4 games. Nick Backstrom, 1 game. Rafi Torres, 25 games. Shea Weber, Zenon Konopka, both fine. So, man, busy. But that Torres one, I think, is probably the one we're going to key in on here. And you can't really argue it. Just from a repeat offender, predatory type of player, you got to send that message to him.
Yeah, and I guess that's what it is. You really do have to look at the fact that he's a repeat offender. 5 years ago, that's a beautiful, beautiful hit. Now it's just not. You know what I mean? Like, it was way late. And just,
the puck still wasn't there.
Yeah, okay. You're
saying.
Either way, the puck wasn't there. Rafi Torres has been like that though. Really his whole career. And to tell you the truth, I don't think this is gonna stop him either.
Yeah, and on top of the repeat offender status, I mean, I think it's widely known or widely thought that the NHL dropped the ball last year when he did the Brent Seabrook hit.
That's right.
And they did suspend him. So I think it's kind of like, okay, you got away with one. Let's try and move past.
Yeah, I also think, though, Jim, that this was, talk about drop the ball. I mean, I would say they dropped the ball on the Shea Weber, just giving him a fine right off the bat. And, this was Shanahan's opportunity because, I mean, you look at Torres as a 3rd, 4th line guy, and you could really throw the book at him and him not being a Shea Weber, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and plus, I mean, Marian Hossa was hurt.
Yeah, that's right.
Sent to the hospital, not playing yet, so... Those are all factors, but I mean, 25 games.
Oof, that's a lot. Well, I mean, that's the worst incident so far, Jim. What do you think has been the most undeserved suspension?
I think, you got to give it to Andrew Shaw because the hit on goalie Mike Smith, I thought was a bit of simulation there. You're not supposed to hit the goalies, but Smith went down. I don't know. To me, that one was totally overblown. No one from the Coyotes went to engage Shaw afterwards. Right. And really, I think the Torres hit is payback for the Shaw thing because I thought it was interesting, right? When he hit the goalie, the camera panned to Rafi Torres like, oh, what's he going to do? I think he just waited a game.
Yeah,
I think he waited one game and then said, okay, no one's looking, boom. But I think the Shaw one is a bit much, especially when you see, like, you know, in the next game, there's Mike Smith throwing a blocker at Patrick Sharp.
That's right.
Really, man?
Oh, no, totally.
And that's okay. Like, when a goalie tries to fight a player, knowing full well that they're not going to have to fight the player, it just makes you shake your head a little bit.
Well, I mean, if you look at the revamped rules, and they've been revamped over and over and over again, a goaltender really can do whatever they want. And as long as they're not really taking the blocker really too hard at making it like a weapon. But other than that, could you imagine with these rules what Ron Hextall would do as a goaltender?
Yeah.
Like, because he'd be untouchable. It'd be amazing.
He'd win the Lady Bing, probably.
That's right.
Oh, he was just defending himself.
He was just defending himself. That's right. Well, let's go on to the big news. It was a big shock to some this week as the Preds bounced the Wings from the playoffs. Jim, you weren't ready to declare your Detroit Red Wings the favorite ahead of the series. What happened?
Well, you know what? Nashville's built themselves a pretty good little machine over there, and Detroit couldn't score. They lost Darren Helm, who's a key piece of the kind of core of that team, and that's just the way it went. Pekka Rinne played great. The Red Wings couldn't put the puck in the net. No. That's what you need to win games, and Nashville, you know, they've been good. They've been a good defensive team for a while. They've got great goaltending. Now they've got a couple, pretty intense, fast forwards that make all the difference. I mean, they're jumping on loose pucks and putting it home. Any mistake you make, they're there. So that was a surprise to me. But if you're a keen viewer of the show, you know that I wasn't confident heading in.
Yeah, that's right. And we expect all of you are keen viewers of this show.
Yeah.
Two questions. One, does this bring... do you think this is the Preds? Do you think they're going to go all the way now after they've gone through Detroit, who was a really good, solid team?
I mean, it's tough to say. Like I'm not used to seeing Nashville, having that offensive dynamic, and it'll be interesting. I mean, you look at the teams that are going to be in the second round, and it's, we're not used to seeing them in the playoffs.
No.
In a lot of cases, and we're not used to seeing them so deep. Even not that the second round is so deep in the playoffs, but I mean, it's one round closer, right? And it's going to be very interesting to see how they match up with whoever they get in the second round.
And was this the last game of my favorite, Nicholas Lidstrom?
Well, like Mike Babcock said, he's too good to quit. He's too good of a player still, and I mean, I'm sure the grind of a season takes its toll, but he's gonna retire soon. In my mind, if you're as good as he still is, you may as well keep playing.
On Sunday, the Philadelphia Flyers were able to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 5-1 to win the best-of-7 series. I think it was the best series. I mean, I said this to begin with, actually, that I think it was the best series and it will be the best series of the playoffs, although there has been some pretty intense other stuff. What did you think, Jim?
Oh, it was an outstanding. It had the hate, it had the intensity, it had the craziness that we don't often see in terms of the first round of the playoffs. But and then it sort of calmed down a little bit, and then a 10-3.
Wow. A
10-3 score in a game that, it could be your last of the season. Then they come back and make it 3-2. And then, I mean, on Sunday, it started out with Claude Giroux,
yes.
Basically, calling his number and saying, hey, watch this. Level Sidney Crosby, goes out and scores. I like that player. Claude Giroux's he looks like he's having a lot of fun out there. And that's, I always like players like that. But, man, this could be a legendary performance when all is said and done if the first round's anything to go by. 14 points? Come on, man.
Claude Giroux is quickly becoming my favorite Canadian player in the league, easily, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him play for the next little while.
Yeah.
Well, remember during the regular season there was that whole clock malfunctioning thing in a game between the Kings and the Blue Jackets? Well, there was another bit of controversy involving the clock this week, Jim.
Yeah, the timekeeper was trying to get the ref's attention during the Bruins Capitals game on Thursday. Yeah,
he's hitting the buzzer.
Yeah, and I remember I heard that and thought that's kind of a funny time to hit the buzzer. But okay, they're trying to psych someone out on the faceoff.
That's right.
But in all that, hey, the puck drops. They forget to start the clock.
That's right.
5 seconds goes by. There's only 9 seconds left in the game. And, so 5 seconds goes by. They start it. Meanwhile, Boston's pounding shots on goal. And, they had one blocked, but there was a last-second glove save by Braden Holtby that, appeared to the viewers at home who didn't notice the malfunction, appeared to save the game for them.
That's right.
But it turns out that wouldn't have counted anyways. The NHL says they were aware of the problem right away, and, yeah, tough luck. It wouldn't have counted had it gone in. Can you imagine?
Could you imagine?
If they did score, the ref trying to explain that to the Boston Bruins?
Oh, could you imagine? That would have been insane.
That would have been just bad news all around.
Absolutely. And we've got to mention this, Jim. Longtime Tennessee Lady Vols basketball coach Pat Summitt is stepping aside after over 30 years.
Yeah, and it's sadly it's health related, but she finished with a record of something like, almost 1,100 wins and about 200 losses, 8 national titles. Yeah, that you see a record like 1,098 and 207, and you're like, huh? No, really?
Oh, totally.
But she really made NCAA women's basketball what it is. I'm not a huge NCAA women's basketball viewer, but from what you read about Pat Summitt, and seeing other coaches around college sports, and even to an extent some NBA coaches coming out and saying what a contribution she's made over the years, really, that's a legendary woman right there.
Absolutely, and that's good for her. And, that's going to go into our GABBYs here, Jim. These are the good and bad by you. And let's give a good to one of 50 Minutes of Fame's favorites, the New Jersey Devils goaltender, Martin Brodeur. Martin Brodeur.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it's not Martin.
I know, that's, again, my Don Cherry coming out. He lasted about 22 minutes in a Game 3 loss before being pulled, but he came back and registered a shutout in Game 4. His NHL record, 24th in the postseason. What a beauty.
And what a strange series that one is. I mean, it's probably the one I've watched the least, but there you go on Saturday. A shutout performance by Jose Theodore.
Exactly.
Or Josie, if it's you pronouncing it.
That's right.
You want to talk about accomplishments, Jeff. What about a good to Colorado Rockies pitcher Jamie Moyer, who became the oldest player in MLB history to win a game, 49 years, 141 days old when he broke a record set in 1932. The other team's pitcher wasn't even born when he made his MLB debut in 1986.
I am 30 and feel old when I get up in the morning. This guy went out and won a game. Absolutely amazing. Good for him.
Yeah, I think there was no pitch over about 79 miles an hour or something.
Which is awesome. Well, we love fan creativity here on 15 Minutes of Fame, and so we have to give a good to the Washington Capitals fans who are trolling Boston Bruins goaltender Timmy Thomas with a giant Barack Obama heads in Game 3 of their first round series, a game the Bruins wound up winning, but still pretty hilarious.
Yeah, you see the big heads floating around in the crowd, and you go, what's going on?
Why is that? Right, I remember now.
Let's give a bad to the parent of an Alabama football player who tripped and ended up knocking the Crystal BCS Championship trophy off of its little stand and shattering it into a million pieces. It's valued at $30,000. The team's going to replace it, I guess. But he tripped on a rug at the bottom of a display, and oh man, he just feels great about the whole thing.
Oh, could you just imagine? Could you I bet you that whole thing went in slow-mo, and the fact that it shattered was even better. Not better, worse, but could you just imagine? Oh God. Well, this bad goes to either the NBA or the Charlotte Bobcats. Yes, they lost their 19th straight game on Friday, but the official NBA website actually put "this team stinks" next to their last place finish on the power rankings. Really, NBA? Really?
That's pretty... that's a little... I don't know.
That's a little... Yeah, exactly.
Finally, a bad to the Orlando Magic. We've talked about it a few times here, but, there were rumors that Dwight Howard didn't want to play for the coach. He wanted him fired. Then there was rumors he was going to be sitting out the rest of the season. He's got a back injury, but there was rumors that he just didn't want to play for the coach anymore after the coach went to the media with the thing. And blah, blah, blah. Now he's had season-ending surgery, so he's done.
At least we don't have to talk about it.
That ends that storyline for a while.
Well, exactly.
It'll be back.
Well, folks, the punchline this week is one of those joy of victory and agony of defeat type stories.
Yeah, according to a website called the Slanch Report, a high school baseball player hit a game-winning home run recently into the windshield of his own vehicle. His coach said afterwards, he's glad he hit the homer, but he feels bad about the new windshield. That's a tough one. Apparently, he had parked, and then they said, "Oh, you should probably don't park there, man." So he went and parked somewhere else,
and he still hit it.
Yeah,
that's one heck of a hit.
I mean, if you're hitting long bombs, don't park in the outfield.
That's right.
Park like in foul territory,
and that way you'll be all right. I like it. Well, folks, that's our 15 minutes of fame up for this week. Join us again next week when we get a whole new 15 minutes of fame. In the meantime, I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
Have a good week, folks.